Welcome. Oh, my clock is dusty. I gotta clean that. Sorry, right back. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for waiting. I did dust it, but I think I made it worse. But, that'll do, pig. That'll do. Anyways, I am so glad you're here. Thank you so much for coming. Basically, what I want to do in this one is just keep myself accountable and make sure that I read my entire physical TBR in 2023, which is not a lot of books, so I think I can do it. Also, if you guys have any feedback or thoughts on any of the books I'm showing, I would love to hear what you thought, but please no spoilers. I hate spoilers. But to start, I'm going to start with the book I am currently reading, which is Fear by Michael Crichton. You read Jurassic Park. I love Jurassic Park, and I love a good sci-fi story. So that's where I kind of went with this one. I got it from a secondhand shop. I love buying used books where they're all already broken in for you. Especially the older ones where they look a little new. Mass market paperbacks are my favorites. But I am almost done with this. I only got that much left. And I'm really liking it so far. Not exactly what I was expecting, but very interesting. And next on my list is The Good Sister by Gillian McAllister. I have no clue what this book is about. I just love a good thriller, and this seemed to be one. Also, it looked really new. It was also a secondhand find, so I picked it up on a whim because I kind of thought the cover was cool, essentially. Next on my unread TBR is Karen Slaughter, The Last Widow. I have never read anything by Karen Slaughter. I've heard pieces of hers really good. This was another kind of thrift store find. It looks brand new. Like, look at this spine. Like, no cracks or anything. So I figured I would just give it a go, see how I like it. And that was basically the book I have on my TBR is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Casey. Another thrift store find. I love these old novels. I mean, this was only 95 cents when it was published. Can you believe it? I just really like anything that basically has character. And this looked like it was in really cool condition. And I like reading classics. I just like to see how other things are inspired by them. You get references, kind of everything like that. Then I have The Woman in the Dunes by Kobo Abe. I was supposed to go to Japan, but the good old Panini canceled that trip. But in preparation for that trip, I kind of looked at a lot of Japanese-inspired literature, so that's why I picked up this one. And it's not that big, as you can see, it's quite short, so it should be a pretty quick read. Another classic, The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Stallinger. This is a very simple cover, but I kind of liked it. There's a lot of talk about Catcher in the Rye. Never read it, didn't have to read it in high school. I want to just, get that classic off the list. Another old book that I could not resist buying because of the cover is this copy of Journey to Center Earth by Jules Verne. I love a good old sci-fi adventure fantasy story, and then having a cool cover like this, like, come on, I just love it. Even if I don't end up liking it, this might be one of the few ones where I keep it just because I think it's pretty. It's such a cool, older copy. And then next is The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle by Haruki Murakami. This was kind of the other one that was in my find Japanese authors to read before I go to Japan. A lot of people really like Murakami. I have read Norwegian Wood by him, and I did not like it, but I figured I'd give The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle a try. I happened to come across this in a thrift store, and I figured I might as well take it, so I'll see how that goes. It's a little bit thicker, so I do hope I like it. Next on the list is Britt Marie Was Here by Frederick Bachman. I've heard so many good things about him. I read Anxious People, which was really good. I did Anxious People as an audiobook, which I highly recommend. It was a really good audiobook experience. So when I found this in a secondhand shop, I mean, can you tell I like thrift stores? when I found this looking almost completely new in a thrift store. I haven't heard of this book specifically by him. I haven't heard anybody talk about this one, so I'm hoping it's good. And next is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. It takes place on a cruise ship cabin. I've heard good things about Ruth Ware. I've read a lot of Agatha Christie before, which I feel like sometimes ruins other mystery novels, because if they're inspired by it, you kind of already know the ending, and Agatha Christie did it so well. Law of diminishing marginal returns, I guess, but I want to give this one a shot. You know, like I said, I love a good thriller. This is definitely like a summer thriller, so maybe I'll read it in the summer when it's warm and that's when you would normally go on a cruise. Next that I have is Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. So many good things. I know it became a TV series. I haven't seen the TV series, but if it's good enough to become a TV series, I figured I might as well try this, especially since so many good things have been said about them. And I did have been recommended this by a friend, and I really like this white cover. And then I have Going Postal by Terry Pratchett. So Terry Pratchett is kind of like the king of absurdist fantasy. I didn't realize this was part of a series. Not necessarily the way most people would recommend starting a bunch of his books. I might try it. You'll have to let me know if I need to read another one before doing Going Postal. Please let me know, and I might get that from the library. I'm hoping to get this read this year. Another classic, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. How can you not start with the individual who really started horror? I know Frankenstein is referenced so much in our culture, and so many people have so many good things to say about it. I just really wanted to read the original. This was another one I found in a thrift store. I've never seen this copy before, but I figured I would just get it so I can read it. I'm thinking of maybe annotating this because I kind of want to keep Frankenstein. I just have a feeling I'm going to really like it, or even if I don't like it, I'll appreciate it and I'll want to refer back to it. Do people like annotation vlogs? I don't know if I want to do an annotation vlog on this, but that one might be a cool idea. Emma by Jane Austen. I'm not usually a huge fan of romances, but Jane Austen is popular for a reason. I have not read Emma. I did read Pride and Prejudice when I was like 18, and I was on vacation and I didn't have any other books to read, and I kind of forced myself to read it just to read it, and I kind of regret that. I should not have done that. So I kind of didn't like Pride and Prejudice, but I love the movies of Pride and Prejudice, so maybe I should revisit that. And at the same time, I was thinking maybe I should give Emma a shot, like just read it and see how I enjoy it. And then I do have a middle grade, Nevermore, The Tales of Morgan Crow. So many people have just really liked this and said good things, and I've kind of wanted to get lost in a middle grade fantasy. Something super quick and easy to read, but like a very fun story. And lots of people just really like this one. I'm hoping I really like it. I'm really hoping it brings like that magical childhood feeling that I am really craving currently. And next, I have another old book cover. This one, Isaac Asimov, Fantastic Voyage. I read I, Robot by Asimov, and I really liked it. And I kind of wanted to look at some of his other sci-fi. I know this one is not super popular, but it really gave me like Mrs. Frizzle's vibes with like shrinking down, and like Rugrats vibes with like shrinking down and going into the living body of a human and kind of seeing what there is. So I figured I'd see what Mr. Asimov's take on that was. And it's really short. It's a really quick book. It's going to be a quick read. So hopefully, I always hope I enjoy everything. And kind of in the same vein, I've got Second Foundation by Asimov and Foundation and Empire by Asimov. I don't have the first one in this series, so I will have to get that from the library. But this was kind of like another thrift store find, and even though these covers are pretty simple, I really liked them for that reason, and they looked quite new, so I grabbed them. I just have to read the first one. And does anybody else do this? You buy books for a series, and you don't even have the first book in the series, and you haven't even read the first book in the series? Is that just me? Next on my list is the Lola Quartet by Emily St. John Mandel. Her book, Station 11, I actually really liked it. I read it at the beginning of the pandemic, and for some reason, reading pandemic books during the pandemic was comforting. This is kind of a totally different book, but I figured I'd give it a go because I really liked Station 11. I really want to read Sea of Tranquility, so I figured I'd try another one of her books that I haven't heard anything about. I haven't seen anybody talk about the Lola Quartet. Another really well recommended book by John Irving, A Prayer for Owen Meany. I feel like this has been on a bunch of just random lists of like really good books to read, and this cover was like really pretty. I'm like a sucker for a good cover by, and Stephen King also said it was a remarkable novel and rare creation, so who am I to argue with Stephen King? This is the one that I feel like there's lots of good things on, but I think I might dislike it, and it's okay. The next one, Master and Commander by Patrick O'Brien. I love a good pirate story. I love a good seafaring story. I love kind of a lot of military things I actually really like. I love kind of action adventure, like old time fantasy, everything like that. And this is the first one of a series. So because a lot of people really do like this one, I know it's older. I got this from a thrift store, of course. So if you've read it, I would love to hear what you think. And cover by. I have another Michael Crichton. This one I found when I was at the bookstore looking at the other one. Disclosure. This one I don't think is a sci-fi. I think it's a medical drama. Maybe. I could fact check that. I should fact check myself. I have Something to Talk About, which is kind of a lovely romance novel. Especially with this February coming up, I think I'm going to try to read this in February. I'm not usually a huge fan of romance novels in general. I can't like the right one. I did like a little test on myself last year to see what kind of romance novels I like. And I found I like a slow burn, and I like it when you learn about like other parts of their lives and stuff like that. So I can appreciate some good slow burn. I don't think this one's slow burn because it's not long enough to be a slow burn. I'm talking like Mariana Zapata, like 500 plus pages slow burn. But this is kind of, it seemed like a really fun story, and the cover looked fun, so I figured I'd give it a shot. And then Stephen King, The Green Mile. This was one of the books that I just found at a thrift store. I like the colors. I'm so bad at like buying books based on the colors, because if I'm gonna have it, like I want to be able to display it, and I want to be able to keep it, and I want it to look nice in the bookshelf, and like I want it to look nice if it's like out like this or like on the table. But yeah, so I figured I would just give one of his horror a try. I actually really like horror. I really enjoy kind of feeling scared and creeped out and everything like that. I'm going to try to fit more horror in this upcoming year. One book on my Kindle that I do own that I'm counting on this, because this is not like a library book. It's Out of the Gate by Elsie Silver. Another romance novel, which I'm willing to dip my toes into stuff that I haven't liked to see if I would change it. Maybe I'll be a fan of horror school romance. Maybe I won't. I'll give it a go, and we'll take it from there. But anyways, those are all the books I currently own and I have not read, and I'm hoping to read this year. That's kind of one of my personal reading goals, is I kind of want to get my physical TBR all squared away. You know, the books I don't like I can unhaul. I can keep the ones I really like. Hopefully find new favorites. I mean, that's what every reader wants to do, is find some new favorites when it comes to books. If you guys liked any of these books or have any other suggestions for me, please let me know. I'm always looking for a good read. Thank you guys so much for watching. Neaners, I see you're editing this. But anyways, I figured I would just share, keep myself accountable, and I hope everybody has the most wonderful day. Bye now.